The archetype of the unshakable mask. In the high-stakes, high-pressure arena of modern corporate leadership, there is an incredibly dangerous temptation that many executives fall prey to, hiding behind a thick mask of absolute infallibility. We have been systematically conditioned by traditional management models to believe that demonstrating a single moment of doubt is a sign of operational weakness, and that feeling the psychological weight of pressure is an unallowable luxury for a top-tier director. But the raw, unvarnished truth is that a true leader is not someone who completely denies their emotional reality. The genuine leader is the one who possesses the immense courage to look directly into the mirror of their own consciousness, acknowledge the internal storms brewing within, and strategically channel that raw energy to transform their entire organizational culture. Welcome back to this second episode of our masterclass series on emotional intelligence, a deep dive exploration anchored in the extensive research of my published work on leadership development. Today, we are going to cross a monumental professional boundary. We will travel from the profound, metrics-driven self-awareness frameworks established by Travis Bradberry and Greaves in their landmark book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, all the way to the high-stakes conflict resolution tactics developed by George Kohlrieser in his corporate masterpiece, Hostage at the Table. Today, you will learn exactly how to domesticate the wild impulse of your immediate emotional reactions, and how to systematically convert intense organizational friction into a golden opportunity for deep collaboration. This is Leadership Inside Out, the mirror of self-awareness and emotional self-regulation. Travis Bradberry and Greaves emerge in the literary space as guiding lighthouses, challenging us to dive beneath the surface-level metrics and swim in the clear waters of our own internal awareness. They remind us that self-awareness is not an abstract, soft skill. It is the concrete, foundational arena upon which the entire architecture of effective leadership must be built. To practice true self-awareness means learning to listen carefully to the distinct echo of our emotions, accurately recognizing their subtle operational nuances, and evaluating our personal strengths and structural weaknesses with radical humility. Let us speak with absolute candor. It is only when we truly know ourselves that we can hope to accurately comprehend the behaviors of our teams. And it is only when we profoundly understand the people around us that we can lead an enterprise with authentic empathy and strategic alignment. However, Bradberry and Greaves do not allow us to merely stop at self-knowledge. With an exquisite sense of professional sensitivity, they guide us directly into the critical territory of self-regulation. This is the precise executive skill of taking the structural reins of your emotional responses. It is the ability to domesticate the internal reactions that stress triggers within us, allowing us to maintain an absolute, unshakable calm in the dead center of the corporate storm. In the demanding realm of executive direction, where deadlines are relentless and expectations are crushing, a leader who masterfully commands their emotional self-regulation inspires deep, unshakable confidence across the entire value chain. This practice is never about suppressing or suffocating your internal state. Rather, it is about deploying practical techniques such as deliberate, conscious breathing, positive cognitive visualization, and a structured, compassionate internal dialogue. These tools allow you to consciously choose your ultimate strategic response instead of blindly reacting to a difficult catalyst. Self-regulation empowers you to establish clear, healthy boundaries, maintain a crystalline executive perspective, and guide your entire enterprise with a perfectly focused mind. Case study: the transformation of Innovatech. To fully contextualize the massive commercial impact of these principles, let us examine a profound narrative that unfolded inside the central headquarters of Innovatech, a market-leading technology corporation widely celebrated for its disruptive innovations and its highly cohesive team dynamics. In this corporate setting, we find Alex, a highly capable project manager overseeing a uniquely talented team of engineers and developers. One afternoon, the atmosphere inside Alex's department was thick with overwhelming tension. The high-profile project they were actively engineering had just collided with a series of entirely unexpected technical roadblocks. The aggressive delivery deadlines were rapidly approaching, and the relentless pressure was beginning to take a severe toll on the psychological well-being and morale of the entire staff. Recognizing that his team was on the absolute brink of operational burnout, Alex recalled the strategic principles of emotional intelligence. Decided to change the trajectory of the crisis, he gathered his entire team in the central conference room. But instead of immediately diving into the stressful technical architecture of the failures or demanding aggressive overtime quotas, Alex executed a masterful maneuver of emotional self-awareness. He looked at his room of anxious engineers and stated with calm authority, "Before we look at a single line of data or discuss the technical timeline, I want everyone in this room to share exactly how they are feeling in this exact moment. It is absolutely critical that we acknowledge our internal state and address our collective stress before we attempt to solve the technical architecture." One by one, the team members began to vocalize their deepest operational anxieties and frustrations. Some admitted feeling completely paralyzed by the fear of missing the corporate launch. Others expressed anger regarding the resource limitations. Alex sat quietly, listening with genuine executive empathy, validating the absolute legitimacy of every single emotion expressed in that room. By allowing the team to clear the toxic psychological air, the paralyzing tension completely evaporated. Immediately following this check-in, Alex utilized his own self-regulation to pivot the conversation toward practical, creative solutions. Because the team felt genuinely heard, valued, and safe, they shifted from a state of defensive panic to a state of absolute, unified determination. Under Alex's guidance, they engineered a flawless, realistic action plan to conquer the roadblocks. Leading with the heart does not weaken your corporate strategy, it completely fortifies its execution. Hostage at the table. Beating executive captivity. This exact mastery over our internal landscape is what allows us to fully comprehend the revolutionary philosophy presented by George Kohlrieser in his masterwork, Hostage at the Table. Kohlrieser, a renowned international hostage negotiator and leadership professor, reveals a startling corporate reality. In the modern business ecosystem, executives are constantly being held hostage. But they are not held captive by an armed criminal. Rather, they are held hostage by their own psychological defense mechanisms, by their internal emotional hijackings, and by poorly managed toxic conflicts with business partners, stakeholders, or key collaborators. True executive excellence requires a permanent commitment to never allow yourself to become a hostage to any operational scenario. Kohlrieser challenges us to deeply explore the underlying emotional currents that drive every corporate dispute. This requires a sharp process of real-time self-awareness, allowing you to identify the exact words, behaviors, or metrics that trigger your personal anger, defensiveness, or corporate pride. The moment you map out these emotional tripwires, you instantly reclaim your executive power. Instead of reacting impulsively and escalating a destructive war of egos, a sophisticated leader immediately deploys lateral thinking. They deliberately shift the focus of the entire table away from individual differences or method clashes, and direct the spotlight onto shared interests and common denominators. Kohlrieser urges us to pursue a strict win-win negotiation architecture, where the ultimate objective is to discover creative, outside-the-box compromises that fully satisfy the fundamental needs of both factions. When you master this methodology, you stop viewing conflict as a threat to your authority, and you begin to leverage it as a powerful engine for innovation, deep organizational cohesion, and sustainable corporate growth. The Learning Lab, the Tripwire Deactivation Method. Let us now enter our Learning Lab. As experienced leaders who have spent years honing our delivery and public influence, we know that theory is completely useless without precise execution. This week, I challenge you to implement the Tripwire Deactivation Method the exact moment a high-stakes conflict or disagreement arises on your executive agenda. Step 1. Name the trigger in real time. The very second you feel your heart rate accelerate or notice a defensive counter-argument forming in your mind, say to yourself internally, pause. This is an emotional tripwire. My ego is trying to take me hostage. Step 2. Execute the Kohlrieser interruption. Force yourself to step back for 3 full seconds before you speak a single word. Take a deep, deliberate breath. This simple physiological pause breaks the automated neural loop of impulse and instantly restores your cognitive control. Step 3. Pivot to the common denominator. Introduce lateral thinking by looking directly at the opposing party and stating verbatim, "Let us set aside our disagreement regarding the operational method for just a moment. Let's realign on the primary objective that both of us are ultimately trying to achieve for this organization. Deploy this method. Watch the immediate shift in the room's energy and notice how quickly you entirely de-escalate the conflict. The Resilient Leadership Core, Travis Bradberry, Greaves, and George Kohlrieser all converge upon an absolute, unshakable truth. Advanced self-awareness and structured conflict resolution are not merely management tools. They represent a profound leadership philosophy that challenges us to become better human beings. At the end of the day, the most impactful global executives are not those who rule strictly with the mind, but those who possess the immense courage to lead with the heart. This is Leadership Inside Out. I am Hugo M. Garcia. Decide to lead. Reveal your essence. Impact your world.